Hi guys, so this video is going to help you understand the area formula for a circle. So one of the ideas that you guys worked with yesterday was radius and circumference. And so radius also plays a role in finding the area of the circle. So we're going to look at circle one here. So circle one has a radius of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So down in my chart, I'm going to write radius of circle is 6. So if I were to make a radius square on circle one, that means I'm going to take my first radius and I'm going to draw another radius that is perpendicular to the first one. And so this is also going to be 6 units because the circle's edge is always the same distance from the center. So this radius square right here has an area of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 6 is 36 units squared. So one radius square of a circle for this specific circle is 36 units square. Now looking at this circle, how many radius squares do you think it has? So if I draw this first one, hopefully you can kind of see how it would very easily be divided up into 4 radius squares. Now, if you notice, a radius square is a little bit bigger than the circle because of this outside overlap. So if I found the area of all 4 radius squares, it would be a little bit bigger than what I need. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how many radius squares it takes to fill in that circle. So I have these radius squares that I've already cut out, and I'm actually going to kind of cut them to try and fill in what the circle would be so I can see what I have left. So you guys can see this piece. I did kind of a nice job with that circle, didn't I, guys? So this piece goes there. And then let's see if I can do another one. I'm sure I won't be able to do quite as good of a job with it, but we'll see. Yeah, this is already starting off bad. Okay, so this one seems like it fits in there pretty well. So I'm going for as close of a fit as possible. This actually seems like it kind of has some overlap there. So I'm going to cut that off because I want it to fit. I don't want it to hang over because I want to get a really good measurement of how much is left over from my radius square. So you notice that I'm keeping all my little pieces here. Okay, so now this one. Hopefully that's good. Ooh, that looks like it has some extra parts on there that I need to also fill in. So I think that this might actually kind of fill in that spot, which that's kind of funny. So hopefully you guys can see that piece that extra piece that was too much on that other one does a nice job of filling in that gap. And then I'm going to need to take this one down a little bit to cover up that. So this would be like this. And then that fills in right there. So I have a couple spots so you guys can see like right here and right here that I need to fill in. So I'm going to go like this. And then that fills in that gap. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this gap over here. So I'm going to take another piece and I am going to cut it down. And then that piece fits right in there. So now I'm going to take all these pieces that I have left over and I'm going to try and fill in that radius square right there. So whatever I put in there, that tells me that those are the parts that I did not use on my circle. So when I look at what I have left that didn't get used, that will tell me how much did get used. So I'm taking these guys and I'm starting on my outside edges. And then I got to find the rest of my pieces. Looks like I'm missing a piece. Oh, there it is, found it. It's really super important to make sure that we're keeping track of all of our pieces. So now I am going to start cutting this to get it to fill in those gaps. So this guy will go here. Actually, I should probably put him up a little bit. Maybe right there. This piece could go here. Actually, that should go. Maybe that should go there. All right, so I'm still filling in the gaps. Now this piece I'm going to put here. Sorry, this part's kind of tedious. I wish I could speed it up for you, but I can't, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I wish I had some lovely background music for you guys, some song about circles. You probably appreciate that there's not a song about circles. Can you imagine if we were all doing this activity, how frustrating it would be for you to try and keep track of all the pieces of tape? I used to make my classes do this themselves, so you should be very grateful that you get to watch me do it, so you are not being tortured by it. I'm going to actually flip this piece around to fit in there because it still has the same area even though I've flipped it. And then we'll go like this. That looks like it fits right there. So you guys are hopefully noticing that it's a lot of this square that's filled in with these pieces. So there's 3 whole squares in there, and it looks like a little bit of the 4th square. So when we finish taping all this down, we're actually going to try and figure out how much of the square is left. And I'm not being totally exact with it, but I think we're going to be close enough that we'll be able to get a good idea. Okay, last little bit for me to fill in. So I'm going to go like that. And like that. So if you look at all of the parts that I have filled in, if you want to count up the squares that I have filled in, this whole row is filled in. So there's 6. This whole row, except for this little bit, is filled in. So I don't know, if you looked at like this piece and this piece right here, maybe this piece, I would call that one piece that's not filled in. And then I might call this like maybe 1.5 pieces that's not filled in. So of my 36, 1 plus 1.5 is 2.5. So of my 36, there are 33.5 pieces that are filled in. So I have, if I were to find that ratio, 33.5 divided by 36, that gives me 0.93. So I started with 4. So if I did 4 minus 0.93, that gives me 3.07. So of my radius squares that I started with, 3.07 of them fill in my circle. 3.07 is pretty close to a number that you guys should hopefully be thinking about. It's actually, if I were more accurate, it would have been about 3.1 of the radius squares to fill in the circle. So I probably have more spaces in there than I realized. But that leads us to our area formula. So this is where you're going to start writing stuff down in your book, and I'll actually write it down in the book with you. So we should be on page 9. So you guys should have your little box drawn. And this is area of circles. So